Hello, today we're going to take a look at something that starts in pre-algebra but is used heavily in Algebra 1 and every math thereafter. So what we're talking about is solving equations. And we're going to do some at the most basic level up here, one-step equations, and then we'll work our way up. I'm going to go kind of quickly through this, assuming that you have seen it before. It's just a little rusty, okay? So let's just talk main idea. When you solve an equation, the goal is to isolate the variable. And in all of my problems below, the variable is x. I just chose an x, but it could be any letter that's been chosen. And you want to get that by itself. Now, in order to do that, you have got to look at the numbers that are around that x. So look at what's next to it, and you want to get rid of that number. Okay, so the idea is if I have added a 4 right here, I want that 4 to move to the other side of the equal sign. And when you want to do that, you have to do the opposite mathematical operation. So in other words, if there's a plus 4 here and I need to move it across the equal sign, I would like to subtract it. You do the opposite of addition, which is subtraction. And whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other side of the equation in order to keep it balanced, okay, or to keep it fair. So for some people it's easy to draw a line through the equals. That way you realize that you better be doing the same thing on both sides of that line. So if I need to subtract 4 here, well, 4 minus 4 is 0, and I bring down whatever's left, which is just the x. The equal sign is still in the middle here. And then what is 9 minus 4? Well, that's just 5. And once that x is isolated, you are finished. So over here we're going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to go ahead and draw my line through the equal sign. And right now I've got a 3 attached to the x. That's the same thing as multiplication, guys. So it's like saying 3 times some number is 21. And I realize you can do this in your head, but we're doing it with math so that later when it gets tough, you can see where this is going. So if I'm doing 3 times x and I need to get rid of that 3, well, the opposite of multiplying by the 3 would be dividing by the 3. And opposites are what's needed whenever you're moving across the equals. So if I divide this side by 3, I have to divide the other side by 3. And 3 over 3, well, that just reduces and goes away. They just cancel each other out and make a 1. So an x is what's left underneath. I'm going to recopy my equals. And then what is 21 divided by 3? Well, that is 7. So whatever math you're doing in your head, because I know a lot of you could do these in your head without showing the work, you are working backwards in your head. And that's why whenever you want to move across the equal sign, you do the opposite mathematical operation. You are working backwards, and you're showing yourself with algebra what your head is doing. Okay, so a two-step equation. So on something like this, in order to isolate the x, it's always best to get rid of the outside number first. So not the one that's stuck to it, but the one that's off to the side. So here we have a plus 9, and if I want that a minus 9, if I want the minus 9 to go away, I need to do the opposite, which means add 9 to both sides, okay? And the purpose of that is now a negative 9 and a positive 9 are going to make a 0. I'm going to bring down the 2x, okay? And then what's 11 plus 9? Well, that would be a 20, okay? So now I have a 2 stuck to the x, and if I want to do the opposite of multiplying by 2, which is what this is, I need to divide off that 2. That'll turn that side into a 1. And then 20 divided by 2 is 10, and that would be your answer, okay? All right, so now we kick it up even another notch here, and we look at, let me scroll up a little, a multi-step equation, okay? So for a multi-step, it just means several things might be needed. And some of you may remember that when you see parentheses like this, it means that the 3 is actually being multiplied by everything in the parentheses. And your first step always needs to be what we call distributing the 3. When you distribute, you're multiplying the 3 by both things inside the parentheses, or all things inside inside the parentheses. So what is 3 times 2x? Well, 3 times 2x would make 6x's. And then what is 3 times that 1? Well, it's just a 3. So there's a plus sign right here. I'm going to recopy, and then 3 times 1 is 3. So that should be your first step. Now it looks just like the one that we did up here. So I need to get rid of this 3 first. Okay, it's a plus 3. So what's the opposite of plus 3? Minus 3. Make sure you do it to both sides to keep it balanced. I'm going to bring down this because I haven't done anything with that. And then a positive 3 and a negative 3 make a 0. Yay, so that goes away. And then a 12 minus 3 is a 9. Okay, now 6 times something equals 9. Well, if I need the 6 off of the x, I need to divide it off. And if I do that to one side, I do it to the other. And I realize that 6 does not go into 9, but all you have to do is reduce this fraction and you're finished. So to reduce the fraction, let me divide both the top and the bottom by 3, just to make it prettier. And so my answer is 3/2 or 1.5. or 1.5 if you like decimals. So any of these are perfectly fine answers. And now the last one, it looks crazy, right? But you're going to start the same way that we did on this one. Anytime you see the parentheses thing happening, you want to go ahead and distribute first. Okay, so I'm just going to recopy what's on the left because I don't want to mess with it yet. Let me distribute. 2 times 5 is 10. Minus, what's 2 times x? Well, that just means there's 2 x's. Now, my goal that I like to do is I like to get all my numbers over here, like normal numbers I like on the right, and all my variables I like to leave them on the left. You don't have to do that, but I just kind of have always been trained to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by getting rid of this 8 that's in the way over here. Okay, so just like I did on all these other problems, it's a minus 8 right now, so let me add 8 to both sides. Now, where do I put the plus 8? Should I put it under the 10 or under the 2x? Well, I'm going to put the plus 8 under the 10 because these are both just normal numbers. They are like terms. I don't want to put that 8 with the 2x because you're not allowed to add two things if they don't have a matching variable. So make sure you're putting it with the guy that it goes with, okay? So now over here we have a 0. Yay. I'm going to bring down my 4x, okay? A 10 plus an 8 is an 18, and then I still have that minus 2x if I bring that down. Okay, now what do? I want all of my variables over here. So what that means is that over here, this 2x is actually a problem because it's on the wrong side of the equation. So if I want to bring a minus 2x to the other side of the equation, I need to do the opposite, which means I'm going to add that 2x to make it disappear over here, and it ends up bringing it to the other side of the equation. So 4x plus 2x is a 6x. I bring down that 18. The minus 2x and the plus 2x cancel each other out. And now I'm in business. I just need to get the 6 off of the x, so it's a 6 times x. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So those go away, and then 18 over 6 would be 3. And you are finished. So hopefully that's a good quick refresher for anybody that once knew how to do this but maybe is a little rusty or is maybe forgotten. And there's plenty more resources out there for you on maybe Khan Academy. He'll go a lot slower. There'll be a lot more videos, but I was just trying to give you a quick run through, and hopefully this has helped you out a little bit. Thank you.